In dim-lit chambers, bound by dust and grief, a whisper stirs beneath forgotten leaves. The books I knew, once warm with light, now bleed in tongues of ash, of shadowed truths that feed. O daughter lost, where do you weep and hide? What hand has torn you from the world of men? I sift through time and fractured skies for signs. A name, a mark, a voice that breathes again. A tome unfolds beneath my trembling hand, its ink like veins pulsing soft and slow, and in its lines a promise made of sand. To find the lost, one must descend below. I light the flame, though shadows twist and stare. A voice like silk uncoils within the gloom. It speaks my grief, it knows the weight I bear, and bids me enter, bids me seek her tomb. A rustle soft, a fleeting breath of air. Her voice, like wind, too faint, too far to trust. Yet there, it calls, like echoes snared in prayer. A whispered plea from shadows cloaked in dust. Father, I wait. The stars are cold tonight. Her words like silver threads across my mind. I turn, but find no form to match the sound, no hand to grasp, no face within the light. I stagger forth, the floor like shifting tide. My breath is thin, my pulse a fleeting spark, a fleeting laugh, her song just out of reach. I chase her voice into the drowning dark. Elyra, I cry, though stone and time are blind. Yet still her voice returns, though softer still. Find me, Father, seek the hand that guides. Her whispers twist like ivy through my will. And then, a figure, cloaked in woven night, emerging from the dark with steps like breath, a voice like silk, soft folds of twilight's thread. Erasmus Vayne, you seek the edge of death. His eyes, two hollow stars that drink the light, a smile too wide, his voice too calm, too thin. I know the song that pulls your feet from home. I know her voice, the prison she lies in. He bowed, his shadow spreading at my feet. A gate lies waiting, veiled in time and ash. But gates require keys and paths a guide. To find her soul, the stars must surely clash. You've felt the pull of worlds beyond the glass, the unseen pulse that stirs beneath the stone. Your daughter's breath lies bound by folded time, a thread, a tether, tangled but not gone. A gate exists where rivers twist through dusk, a key carved deep in echoes of the earth. There lies the answer, wrapped in broken stars, a path that bends to cradle death and birth. She waits, Erasmus, singing soft and low. But time is thin, and shadows hunger wide. I am the guide who knows the words, the way, the only light beyond this drowning tide. I froze, my breath a weight I could not bear. The floor beneath me spun in hollow rings. To trust a voice so smooth, a face so still, would cast my soul beneath forgotten wings. But oh, her voice still lingered in the dusk. Her name, a promise echoed through my bones, and grief, a tide too fierce to turn away. What father leaves his child in dark alone? His hand extended, thin as woven flame, a bridge of words, his tongue a silver chain. I gripped it tight, though reason tore its seams, for reason fails where grief and madness reign. He led me through a hollow sea of stone, each step a ripple folding time in waves. The stars above, too many, cold and bent. A sky that breathed and watched like shallow graves. The trees were wrong, each branch a spiral bone, their leaves like glass, reflecting distant suns. And somewhere deep, the hum of things unknown, a rhythm soft, like bells where water runs. Do you feel it? Iskhar whispered low. The pulse of earth, the hunger of the gate, the threshold stirs. It knows the steps you take. It waits for you. It knows your daughter's name. The air grew thin, the ground a yawning throat. I stumbled, fell, yet still her song pressed near. Father, faster, find me in the dark. Her voice a thread of hope and rising fear. The gate appeared, a breach of swirling light, its edges raw, like glass and frozen flame. It breathed in silence, bending space in folds, a mouth of stars that whispered soft, my name. Iskhar laughed, a sound too sharp, too wide. A step, just one, and all you seek is yours. Her voice, her hands, her eyes beyond the veil. Step through, Erasmus, break the ancient doors. I felt the pull, 1,000 years unmade, a rushing tide that burned and crushed the soul. Yet still her face beyond the gate, a child, a shade, a dream I could not hold. A voice like shattered glass cut through the dark. Stay back, O fool whose heart outpaces light. The gate devours, it bleeds what once was whole. No door once crossed will mend the broken night. His form, a hollow husk of ash and flame. Tharnak, the prophet bent by time and grief. His eyes, two endless wells of fractured skies. A voice both cold and trembling with belief. I've walked that gate. I've borne its cursed flame. 1,000 whispers stitched beneath my skin. The child you seek is not the child you lost. Her soul now bends. The pulse beats deep within. Turn back, he gasped, his voice a thundered plea. Let shadows lie where stars refuse to shine. What waits beyond will bind your breath in stone and steal the face of all that once was thine. I faltered, every step an iron chain, my heart a tattered map of hope and doubt, to turn, to run, to breathe and live again, or step beyond and never find a way out. Yet still she sang, her voice too sweet, too near. Her laughter spun through galaxies unseen, a dream reborn, a child just out of reach, and grief's dark tide pulled tight its tethered seam. Listen, he cried, his voice a jagged flame. The gate's a mirror bent through hollow time. It bends her face, it steals her name in shards. The child you love's a shadowed paradigm. She sings, but not with breath you knew before. Her voice is stitched from light that's twisted wrong. Her laughter's chords unstrung by space and flame. Each note a snare, each word an ancient song. I froze, though every fiber pulled ahead. Her voice still lingered, soft as woven silk, a sob, a plea. "Please, Father, I'm alone." A ghostly whisper folded into milk. Her face appeared, too real, too near, too bright. Her eyes like mirrors drawing breath from stone. "Father, I wait. Don't trust the voice that breaks. He lies. He hides the path that leads me home." Her hands outstretched, her tears like silver rain, her voice a song that filled my hollow chest. "Come find me, Father. Leave the dark behind. Through stars and doors, you'll carry me to rest." A snarl, a crack. The prophet's breath grew wild. "You'll not, you mustn't, tread that burning void." His hand, a dagger sharp with fate and steel, he struck, his eyes both sorrowful and void. But shadows shifted. Iskhar's laughter rose. A blade of whispers spun from darkened mist. It struck, it tore. The prophet's cry went dim. His soul unwound. A crimson thread untwists. His breath was ragged, eyes like broken glass. A whisper faint, yet cutting through the dark. She waits, but not in arms you'll hold again. Her song is hollow, shaped by shadow's spark. The gate takes all, yet never gives the same. Her soul's a thread, now woven into flame. If you must walk, beware what breath you claim, for some who love are born without a name. The gate inhaled, a spiral born of fire, its edges breathing stars that wept and broke. A storm of time and ash consumed the dark, and through the fold the voice of shadows spoke. I stepped. The ground dissolved beneath my feet. 1,000 echoes screamed, then turned to glass. The air grew thick with light and fractured stone, a pulse that bled from skies too wide to pass. The trees were tongues, their roots like iron veins. The river burned, a path of liquid night. The stars spun backward, bending as they sang, their voices stitched with whispers born of light. "Father," her voice, a beacon through the storm. I chased her song through fields of molten stone. Her laughter rolled like thunder bent by glass. A promise soft, a dream of blood and bone. The sky unfolded, petals black as dusk. Each breath I took unraveled in the wind. The ground beneath me cracked, then whispered back, and every step tore worlds apart within. Mountains swayed like tides beneath the moon. Their peaks were eyes that blinked in hollow pain. The rivers hummed, their waters thick with light, each drop a fleeting, burning thread of flame. "Come closer, Father." Every word a thread. Her face appeared, then broke in shards of glass. Her eyes were stars, her hands both light and flame. Yet still she smiled, a mirror bound by ash. The wind grew thick, its breath a hollow hum, a pulse beneath the earth like beating wings. The air turned cold, yet burned with blinding light, and every shadow whispered ancient things. A name unspoken folded through the sky, a voice too deep, too vast for mortal breath. Its echoes spun like storms of endless dusk, a hymn of time, a song of waking death. A tremor rose. The sky tore open wide, its breath like thunder fractured into glass. And there, it stood, beyond the edge of thought, a shape, too vast for shadow's grasp to pass. A mass of light, of void, of writhing limbs, its eyes like endless orbs of burning stone, its mouths, too many, sang a hollow hymn, a song of worlds, devoured and unknown. Its tendrils swept the air. The stars turned blind, its pulse a thrum that broke the seams of time. Reality bent backward on itself. Each breath I took became a spiral rhyme. Then, there she stood, her face too bright, too clear, her eyes like windows bending light through flame. Her hands reached out, a tether, soft and warm. Father, I'm here. You found me in the frame. Her voice was sweet, yet spun from something deep. Her touch like silk, yet cold beneath the light. Her smile too wide, her laughter thin and pale. Yet still, I wept and drew her close in flight. Her skin began to blur, to twist, to fade. Her eyes like mirrors cracking in the sun. Her form unraveled, threads of light and dark. A song undone before its tune had run. No, no, I gasped. Those shadows wrapped her tight. Her face became the stars that bent the sky. Her voice was light, her name dissolved like ash, a dream unmade, a thread that failed to fly. And in her place, the pulse of Azrith-Ka. Its eyes consumed the void where shadows fell. It spoke my name in tongues that bled through time, a voice too deep, a song from hollow wells. Her voice returned, so soft, so far away. Stay with me, Father. Time won't bind us here. In this new light, no shadows hold us down. The stars are ours. No death, no grief, no fear. The air grew thin, my heart a hollow thread. I reached, though time dissolved beneath my hand, to hold her close, or let her fade once more, to break or bend beneath the burning sand. The sky collapsed. The stars fell into flame. The ground beneath me breathed, then spoke my name. Her voice became the tide that wrapped my soul, a song too sweet, too wide, to leave untold. Come closer, Father. Rest within the light. No shadows stir. No death can find you here. The gate is home. The stars are ours to bend. Come through, and hold me without fear. Her hand in mine. Her form dissolved in waves. Her eyes became 1,000 threads of gold. Her breath entwined with fire, dark and bright. Her face a dawn too vast for time to hold. A light too deep, too wide, too far to breathe. Each thought unmade, then born again in dark. My bones turned flame, my name a fleeting sound, my soul a thread stitched deep in shadow's arc. And there, in endless tides of time undone, her eyes like fire, folding stars in bloom. Her laughter spun in spirals soft and strange, her hand in mine. Within this boundless womb, the sky grew still, the stars no longer wept. The gate closed slow, its breath a hollow hum, and in the dark, our voices twined in light. No grief, no pain, no dawn, no rising sun. No time, no form, no breath to mark the years. Just threads of thought in silence deep and vast. A father's dream, a child's forgotten song, a name once spoken, swallowed by the past. The stars awoke. The skies returned to calm. The tide of light grew still, a breathless void. And there I stood, a shape within the dusk, a voice reborn, a hollow dream employed. My robes now dark, my eyes two ancient orbs. The gate behind me whispered in its sleep, and through the veil I heard a distant cry, a voice like mine, once lost within the deep. Another soul, bound tight in grief and time, a seeker caught in tides of shattered stars. I smiled, though shadows burned beneath my skin. A name unspoken stretched across the scars. Iskhar stood still. His eyes betrayed a truth. He bowed, though stars began to pull him whole. The tendrils wrapped, the pulse became his breath. His name dissolved, unwritten from the scroll. A fleeting scream, a song of shattered light, a flash of time, then silence in the dark. No trace remained, no echo, breath, or thought. Just hollow skies and shadows, dim and stark. And now I wait. The stars, my only watch. A voice of silk, a tongue of twilight's breath. I call to him, the seeker lost in grief, a path through fire, a gate of woven death. Erasmus, I whisper soft through hollow air. Come find the light, it bends beyond the glass. Your daughter sings, her voice will guide you home. Step through the veil, the gate will let you pass. And so it turns, the wheel that knows no rest, a chain of grief, of stars that burn and bind, each soul a thread rewoven in the dark, each step foretold, each breath a hollow rhyme. The guide becomes the hand that pulls the thread. The gate devours, yet whispers soft and wide. The seeker comes, a father lost in grief. The song repeats, the shadow bends the tide. No end, no dawn, no stars to mark the way. The seeker falls, the seeker finds, then fades. The child a spark, the gate an ancient womb. The light consumes, and all returns to bloom. 1,000 names, 1,000 steps through flame. Each father lost, each child not quite the same.